Hey up, it's Steve from that old Yorkshire Geek, and welcome to my midweek live news stream, where I've just picked a few news stories and a couple of articles for us to have a look at, just to hope it piques your interest. They pique my interest. I've not read any of them. I've skimmed a couple of them, but I've not read them, so they could be amazing or not. We will see. But first, shout out to my Patreons: Archmage Frey, Joshua Kanapkin, Sci-Fi Quest. I better check actually, make sure I haven't got any more while I've been wittering on. Let's have a look. Just check. I bet I haven't. I haven't had any messages anyway from Patreon saying so. No, they're still just them three. Cool. So thank you very much. I will keep adding stuff to my Patreon page as time goes on. Right, so there we go. And who is this? It's Windgrace is in the chat. Oh, now you wear the bloody game shirt. Yes. Now I'm wearing it. Bloody game. Because I played Robocop Rogue City today to the end, and I was saying bloody game in it. Anyway, so there we go. So yes, not Patreon. The merch is available. Like this T-shirt's got my stupid face on as well, and Frey is only a Patreon because this account doesn't have one set up for some reason. The mysterious man from Twitch. How do you know his business, Windgrace? Do you know him or something? Anyway, but that's it. It's much appreciated if you do join the Patreon page. I keep adding stuff from time to time. I'm thinking of doing a double bill for Friday Night Appointment with Fear on the Patreon page, much like I did a few weeks ago when I did Ginger Snaps Unleashed and Ginger Snaps Back. That were on the Patreon page. I keep saying I'm going to put it up on the YouTube page eventually, and I will get round to it. Symbiosis. That was a TNG episode, wasn't it, I think? But anyway. Right, so before we start, don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell. That's down, all that stuff down there. If you subscribed already, join in the chat, drop a comment. Have I just said that? Whatever. Right, we're live on YouTube, fingers crossed. We should be, because Windgrace is there. So yes, we should be live on Rumble. So let's check this. Come on, press play. Yes, we're live on Rumble. And we should be live on Twitch. Yes, we're live on Twitch. And I'll keep saying it. I don't know why I keep doing Twitch. I never get any more followers. But anyway. But my Rumble followers is slowly going up. It's not massive, but anyway. Yes, with not David Marcus and not Khan's friend. I can't remember. I can't remember. Is it that? Yes, it's that one with the the planet that's keeping another planet drugged or something like that, isn't it? Something like that. I can't really remember. It's an early one, isn't it, I think. Anyway, whatever. Right, so let's get on with this news. Yes. Links for all these articles are in the description down below, and later on I'll put timestamps in so you can flit between stories if you want to. Right, so let's get on with these. So I'll full screen this baby, and we'll get on with it, shall we? I think I've said everything I should say at the beginning. Anyway, links are in the description for everything. Anyway, Patreon, shop, merch, Facebook, Instagram, X, and all that stuff. Links are in the description for all that. Yes, Tasha gives Wesley a speech about how great drugs are. Well, some drugs are fantastic, I suppose, aren't they? Especially medicinal ones. But not the ones I take. All I need to do is just lose some weight, get into shape, and I probably wouldn't have to take all the tablets that the doctor gives me. But anyway, I'm just too lazy. Right, let's get on with this news. So off we go. Spladosh. First up from Digital Spy by Erin Zammit and Rebecca Cook. 2 people wrote this article. Doctor Who's Russell T Davies says fans will talk about Steven Moffat's new episode for years. I can't wait for people to see it, he said. Probably just like that. Excuse me. Right, Doctor Who's Russell T Davies has said that fans will be... Well, we just heard that. In March, it was confirmed that former showrunner Moffat, who was in charge for both Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi's stints as the Doctor, would be returning to the show to write an episode for Ncuti Gatwa's first season. The new episode will be directed by Bridgerton's Julie Ann Robinson, and it is confirmed to be titled Boom. I wonder if there's going to be an explosion in it. We will see. Or maybe it's just about somebody's economy going well. I don't know. Speaking to Digital Spy and other media at a Q&A event for the world premiere of the new season, current showrunner Davies revealed details about the episode that Moffat has penned. World premiere for the new season. Remember when Doctor Who just used to be this little British thing? This is what Disney does for you. There are some great monsters coming up, he said. I kind of want tension and those old-fashioned horror scares. Episode 3, which is called Boom, at the very start to that episode, the Doctor stands on a landmine and can't move for the entire episode. And that is absolutely a masterpiece of performance. I'm sure that's been done somewhere else, in another series. That does ring a bell. I'm sure I've seen something along those lines. I'm sure I have. Was it done in Stargate? I'm sure I've seen it in either like Stargate or Space Above and Beyond or Band of Brothers or something like that. You know, I've seen it somewhere where they've done an entire episode where somebody stood on a landmine and they can't move. Anyway, and in terms of tension, it's just thrilling. I can't wait for people to see it. People will be talking about that for years to come. Are you thinking of the Capaldi episode where Davros is stuck on a landmine? No, because I might not have seen that one. Because I give up halfway through Capaldi. No, I'm going back quite a way, I think. Anyway, in March, Moffat teased details about the episode and spoke about the process of finding the right idea to return to the show with, or with which to return to the show, or whatever. He said, when I was getting involved in the series again... Oh, by the way, there she is, Ruby Sunday. There's a story about her coming up. He said, when I was getting involved in the series again, I pitched several ideas to, in bracket, Davies. I sent several emails until I remember I sent one idea that I thought was dynamite. I see what he said there. Landmine, dynamite. I know they're a different thing, but they both explode. I got an email back within 1 minute saying, that's it, go write that. I want that immediately. And so I did. I bet it were in all capitals as well. I bet it were. It's a collaboration of enthusiasm. What we're doing is giggling and laughing and shouting and bounding around the room about how clever and exciting all this is. The new season, which premieres on BBC One and Disney Plus on Saturday, May the 11th, not far to go, or long, will feature a range of guest stars who will join the Doctor and companion Ruby Sunday, Millie Gibson, who I drew last week on live Sunday sketch time. And me short that I did, my speeded up version of that drawing got a dislike. But they tend to get like one dislike. I think one of them's got two, but most of them get one. So I wonder if it's the same person just disliking all me shorts of me speeded up pictures. Somebody doesn't like my drawings, obviously. Including cameos from Strictly Come Dancing stars, Shirley Ballas and Johannes Radibi. I have no idea. I don't watch Strictly, so I don't know. Doctor Who will return for its 14th series on May the 11th at midnight, UK time. Midnight, unbelievable. Airing on BBC One in the UK and Disney Plus elsewhere. Classic episodes of Doctor Who are available on BBC iPlayer in the UK. Wingrace says, my shorts always get dislikes, and sometimes they get tons that disappear after a few days. It's probably AI who hates your skill. So there we go. Is that it, by the way? Yes, it is. So there we go. It's going to be amazing. Is the episode called Boom, with the Doctor on a landmine. So what would happen if the Doctor stepped on a landmine? I mean, and it blew up. Would he instantly regenerate, or would he just die? I don't know. He'd probably just die, wouldn't he? So there we go. Anyway, so that's that one. Whatever, we'll see. 11th of May, we'll see the first episode. I'll watch it, or I'll start watching it. I don't know how far I'll get into it. I didn't get very far into the Christmas special. So we'll see. Right, let's move on. I think we've 3 Doctor Who stories to kick off with. Yes, we have. Right, next up. From the Daily Mail. Spladosh. So there'll be loads of adverts knocking about on this, because you've got to disable your ad block of the Daily Mail. Can you read that? I'll make that bigger. Hey, steady on. Right, who wrote this? Amelia Wynne for Mail Online. Doctor Who star Millie Gibson addresses her future on the show as she breaks her silence on claims she was axed after just one series. Doctor Who star Millie Gibson has addressed her future on the show ahead of the new series being released next month, because this article was written yesterday, where she will star opposite Ncuti Gatwa. The actress, 19, is that all? Bloody hell, God, that makes me feel old. Spoke in an interview with the Radio Times where she broke her silence on rumours that she was axed after just one series. That's a season in America. She made her much-anticipated debut as the 15th Doctor's companion. Ruby Sunday. Got to do that in the 2023 Christmas special, which I saw about 10 minutes of. But after it was reported that she had been dropped after just one season. The upcoming 2024 season, see the mixing their words, of the smash hit Sci-Fi show will return to screens in May for an 8-episode run, with Ncuti, 31, bit of an age gap there, taking over as the iconic Time Lord. However, it was reported at the start of this year that Millie would only appear in a handful of episodes before being replaced by Varada Setu, 32, who was, so that's age appropriate, who was said to have already started filming. And there they are again, outside the TARDIS, and there's the Radio Times, which I never buy. When I was a kid, at Christmas, we always bought the radio, just at Christmas, we always bought the Radio Times and TV Times special Christmas editions. Never bought it the rest of the year. It's like, in America is the TV Guide. We used to have the Radio Times and TV Times. Radio Times did the BBC, TV Times did ITV channels. Right, but now the BBC have announced Gibson and Setu. I'm pronouncing it Setu. I suppose it could be Sethu for all I know. I don't know. Will both appear in the 2025 series alongside Ncuti. Millie has now said she hasn't filmed Ruby's final scene yet, and that her day is not yet over. In terms of her long-term future on the show, she told the publication, "I know how it ends next season, but after that I can only guess. I might be here with a walking stick in a few decades." To accompany the interview, the pair posed in a series of shots together in various costumes from the show. I have heard it as Seth, is that Thu, so I don't know. I'll say Seth, I don't bloody know. In January, it was claimed that Millie would be finishing up on Doctor Who in the coming weeks to tie up loose ends and would not appear in the 2024 Christmas special. An insider, those pesky insiders and sources, told the Mirror, Millie Gibson has all but left now and there's a brand new companion, which is really exciting. By the way, I've kind of got a source myself, not really. If you look on the last Monday, as Magnificent Mondays was Battle Beyond the Stars, somebody who worked on the film has been commenting in the comments with some fascinating information about the special effects and stuff and model work. So there we go. Right, an insider told the Mirror, Millie Gibson has all but left now and there's a brand new companion, which is really exciting. Russell is keeping things moving and isn't letting the grass grow, that's for sure. Mail Online contacted Millie and Varada's representatives at the time. The BBC declined to comment on the claim. Another Radio Times cover. Is that from the same 4th to 10th of May? 4th to 10th of May. So they've got alternates for the Radio Times. It comes after Ncuti admitted he's terrified ahead of the start of the new series of Doctor Who in 2 weeks. The actor's first full run in the TARDIS is set to hit screens on Saturday 11th of May with the long-awaited series. when the long-awaited series will release its first 2 episodes on BBC iPlayer at midnight. The episode will then arrive on BBC One later that day, ahead of the Eurovision Song Contest Grand Final. Is it time for that already? Bloody hell. I've not even heard any songs from it, because I like watching Eurovision. I do, it's good as Eurovision. Shooty made his debut, and I know I'm not gay. Shooty made his debut as the Time Lord on Christmas Day in a special episode of the show last year. No, he didn't make his debut. Made his debut in the full episode, but he made his debut in the 60th anniversary one, didn't he? Anyway, whatever. But his first full series will air next month. When asked how he felt ahead of the release during an appearance on The One Show last Friday, he said, terrifying, but exciting as well, as we have poured so much love into it. I'm ready for the world to see it. Heart is racing, but ready for it. The new season of Doctor Who will see Shooty return as the 15th Doctor alongside Millie as Ruby. Sunday. After they made their debut on Christmas Day last year in the church on Ruby Road. They seem to be repeating themselves in this article. Within the upcoming series, audiences will see the Doctor and Ruby travel through time and space on adventures to unknown lands, to the Regency era in England, to outer space worlds and the 60s, presumably on Earth. Shooty is to become the first queer Doctor and the first black Time Lord for a full series. He told Variety, Do you know what? It makes perfect sense to me. I feel like anyone that has a problem with someone who's not a straight white man playing this character, you're not really truly a fan of the show, you've not been watching. I couldn't give a monkey's whether you're straight or gay or whatever, or black or white, as long as you do a good job, and as long as the story's good. It wasn't the Christmas episode I didn't think was good, because I give up after 10 minutes. If you don't repeat yourself in an article, are you even a reporter? That's true. These days, because the show is about regeneration, no, it's about bi-generation now, isn't it? Probably the inflection on bi. And the Doctor is an alien. Why would they only choose to be this sort of person? Showrunner Russell T Davies echoed Shooty's thoughts. They weren't exactly the straightest men in the past. Who weren't? What are you talking about? Does he mean the past Doctors? On how the screen star's Doctor is different, it's actors, isn't it? Actors are generally fluid. It's part of their nature, to be completely honest. On how the screen star's Doctor is different, Russell added, you're talking about someone who does have a lightness and a joy about him. That to me chimes with queer energy. For Christ's sake. It's got queer energy now. A few months ago, whenever it was, when the Marvels came out, it was Black Girl Energy. Oh no, Black Girl Power, wasn't it? Oh, was it Black Girl Energy? I can't. Black Girl Energy, wasn't it? That Samuel L. Jackson shouted, Black Girl Energy. I'm sure it was something like that, wasn't it? Now we've got queer energy. Unbelievable. It's very rarely driving the story vehemently, but you will see moments exploring it. We're not delivering a neutered Doctor. Shooty made his first appearance as the Doctor in the third 60th anniversary special in December, when the Doctor bi-generated, meaning 2 incarnations of him were in existence at the same time, and according to Russell T Davies, all the other Doctors as well. I think he's just making it. It's just nonsense. He and the 14th Doctor, played by David Tennant, he wanted with the 10th Doctor. He wasn't the 40th, it was just the 10th Doctor again, wasn't he? Thwarted the Toymaker's evil plan. The previous incarnation decided to stay on Earth with his own TARDIS, best friend Donna Noble, and her family. Speaking ahead of the festive episode titled The Church on Ruby Road, Shooty revealed he wants to bring back his black beautiful self to the character. When asked what will be different about his incarnation of the Doctor, I don't care. I just want it to be good. 10 again. I don't know. Is that a Doctor Who reference? I don't know. Anyway, he said it's such a hard question to answer because the role of the Doctor is everything anyway. Another one from the same issue. How many variants? Oh, one of 3 special collector's covers. Right. He is an explorer who has been around for 1 billion years. A couple of thousand. I don't know, though, because, no, it's changed now, hasn't it? They changed it, didn't they, with bloody Timeless Children? So God knows. Yeah, it might have been a bit, I don't know. So they have so many quirks and intricacies, rage and joy, and they're full of a lot of emotions. The Doctor is now a they, them. 10 again. I just think it sounds good mushed together. Okay. Did I say it earlier on? I might have done. I don't know. Look again. Look up. I read things and then I forget instantly what I've just read. Oh, I were 10 again. Yes, yeah, David Tennant was the 10th Doctor again. 10 again, yes. He was 10 again, yes. I remember now. So I say things and then forget what I've said instantly. Yes. Oh, dear. If you go with Capaldi in the confession dial, he was billions of years old. Again, I might not have seen that one. As I said, I give up halfway through Capaldi. And I can't really remember much of his episodes anyway. You know what I'm like. Right, where were we? They, them. Right, so to pick what I was going to bring out differently is a very hard question to answer. I guess myself, my black, beautiful self, I bring my blackness. Imagine if one of the other Doctors had said, as if David Tennant, when he came back, said, I'm bringing back my whiteness. I'm bringing all my whiteness to the role. Unbelievable. Shooty will be the first black actor to take on a full-time stint as the Doctor after Joe Martin briefly played a version of the character in 2020. So there we go. It's not building up my anticipation for it if it's going to be all about his blackness and his queerness. Just do a good story. Stop injecting, other things into it. I mean, don't even care if it does mention gay themes in it. Maybe he sees somebody of the same sex that he finds attractive. I mean, we saw it with John Barrowman and all that, didn't we? In the other, as Captain Jack. As long as the stories are good, fine, do it, but don't make it all about his blackness and his gayness. That we should start calling him his gayness, like his Royal Highness, his gayness. Sorry, but anyway, it shouldn't be all about that. Right, so let's move on. So the basic gist after all that getting on my nerves is she's not being axed, but Windgrace told me this the other day in another stream. I'm just catching up. Because I'm always behind the times, and 19. It's got a thumb ring on as well, I've just noticed. It's got a thumb ring. Cancelled. Not going to watch it. I hate thumb rings. They're bloody awful things. Thumb rings and those earring things that they put in to make a big massive hole in your ear. Them, I hate them. Anyway, right, so there we go. Right. If you got those, I will judge you. I will. Right. Right, let's move on to the final Doctor Who story of today, which is, come here, there we go. Here we go. This is from Screen Rant. I don't know if I put it up, won't it? There we go. Do you not like the Hitchhiker movie? That's about a thumb. It's all about a thumb ring. Lol. The one with Rutger Hauer, that one. That's the Hitcher, isn't it? I don't know. I can't remember. Martin Freeman version. Oh, right. Not the BBC classic. Oh, right. Oh, did they make it into it? I've only seen it once. I wasn't a big fan. I know Warwick Davies played Marvin, didn't he? Not the voice, but he was in the suit with the stupid round head. Oh, I hate that film. Watch the BBC version. Anyway, right, Screen Rant. Who wrote this? Nathan Graham Lowery, Doctor Who showrunner, definitively answers whether Tennant and Tate will return. Doctor Who showrunner Russell T Davies offers a final answer to the fates of David Tennant's 14th Doctor, 10 again, and Catherine Tate's Donna Noble. Doctor Who showrunner Russell... blah, 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 blah. Following the 60th anniversary's conclusion, Tennant and Tate returned to lead the long-running sci-fi series' 60th anniversary across 3 specials. The first 2 I didn't mind. The last one, not so much. Tennant and Tate will return if the ratings dip. Yes, they will. Then again, the ratings for their return weren't... I don't think they were huge, were they? I don't think they were. I think they were better, but they weren't huge, were they? There wasn't a massive, return like we've seen before. But anyway, I forgot where I was now. Tennant and Tate returned to lead the long-running sci-fi series' 60th anniversary across 3 specials, facing classic foes and terrifying unknowns from beyond the universe. Doctor Who's 60th anniversary concluded with a shocking bi-generation twist, as Ncuti Gatwa's 15th Doctor and the 14th/10 again Doctor became 2 separate beings, and Tennant's incarnation was allowed to retire to Earth and live with the Noble family, and all the other Doctors are knocking about as well, in fragments of the TARDIS or something, because there were those little mini episodes, weren't there? Tales from the TARDIS, weren't there? Which apparently is how all the other Doctors could appear in them because of the bi-generation. Oh, for God's sake. While Doctor Who's 60th anniversary conclusion left the Doctor and Donna enjoying a quiet life on Earth, Davies addressed their fate to Rolling Stone, with the 14th Doctor, 10 again, left among a new family and TARDIS of his own on Earth. Oh, yeah. Because the 15th Doctor got a big comedy Harley Quinn mallet out and whacked the TARDIS, and it just made another one. Those are memory TARDISes, and apparently will appear in the new season according to a leaked image. But Russell T Davies did say that all the other Doctors bi-generated as well, so they're all still out there. But they were anyway, weren't they? Because they moved through time and space. So they've all coexisted, haven't they, at some point? Surely. Anyway. The showrunner firmly ruled out any chances of the pair returning to the series. Davies' response to potential return was simply, that was their ending. Dun, dun, dun. Got to have a drink. So, according to Russell T Davies, they're not coming back. Maybe he's lying, I don't know. Though Doctor Who's 60th anniversary may have left the universe with another Time Lord and TARDIS, it is clear that the series' future is firmly focused on Gatwa's Doctor, with Doctor Who Season 14 also being envisioned as Season 1 by both the BBC and Disney. Well, it's Series 14 or Season 1, isn't it? And prior revival seasons being relegated to their own section on BBC iPlayer. It is clear that Davies has set up Gatwa's new era as a fresh start for those wanting to take their first trips through the time vortex. As such, bringing back a past Doctor could leave newcomers... Could leave newcomers wary of potential lore and other baggage. It's the stories. Russell T Davies lying never. While Tennant and Tate may not make an appearance, the fate of the Noble family will be carried on through Yasmin Finney's Rose Noble, having made, the daughter who, the son who was a daughter and didn't take her father's surname, for some reason. Having made her debut as the child of Donna and Sean Noble, because, Sean even took his wife's surname, Cook, C-U-C-K. Rose found herself carrying some of the leftover energy of Donna's past meta-crisis condition, making her an unlikely ally to the 14th Doctor in the Star Beast. Doctor Who Season 14's trailer sees Gatwa's Doctor joined by Rose at Unit HQ. What they call it? like the Avengers Tower, isn't it? Establishing a vital connection between two eras thanks to the companion. Avengers Tower, Disney and all that. The very first episodes Disney Plus has are the 60th specials, which means newcomers started with David and Catherine. Yep. That's it. I didn't mind them. I wasn't a big fan of the third one, but the first two, you know, were generally okay. I generally quite enjoyed them. Yeah, there were bits in it that did me head in, but, you know, I generally enjoyed them. I forgot where I was now. Dr. Davies had previously teased, Davies had previously teased that Doctor Who Season 14 would touch upon the 14th, 10 again, Doctor's fate, but his latest answer firmly rules out on any on-screen return for Tennant and Tate. Tennant and Tate. They should just do a new series just called that, shouldn't they? Tennant and Tate. Like a double act. The rumoured spin-off series have shown... God, what's up with me? The rumoured spin-off... My brain just packed in then, I couldn't read. The rumoured spin-off series have shown the showrunner's ambitions for the show. It is clear any new series wouldn't be based around a past Doctor. While some may be disappointed by Davies's answer, they can also take relief in knowing that the incarnation was left with a happy ending. Note, yes, we know all this, about when it's going to air. If you're listening on the podcast version, the note is just that it's going to be on. I might have well just read it after saying all that. Doctor Who Season 14 will premiere its first 2 episodes on Disney Plus on May 11th for international viewers and on BBC iPlayer for UK viewers on May 10th, followed by a later broadcast on BBC One. I should have just read that out, shouldn't I, instead of waffling. Would rather see an 8th Doctor return than 10 again. 8th. Paul McGann or the 8th one, wasn't he? Yeah. Yes. He only had one go, didn't he? Proper go. He has appeared, you know. 10 again. Yes. 10 again. 10 again. Anyway, so there we go. So, Controversial T. Davies, it's their ending. They're not coming back. I'm sure they'll be back on what do they call it now? Them audio books they do. I forgot what they call it now. No, it's not Big Picture, is it? Big something, isn't it? Which I've never got one of those. But anyway, so there we go. So that's the end of that. Right, let's move on. What's next? Oh, back to Screen Rant again. Oh, yes. Sticking with Screen Rant, we're on Star Wars now, because Star Wars The Bad Batch ended today on Disney Plus with its last episode of Season 3. So there we go. And it were all right. I quite enjoyed it. A flash review is on the channel. There's a normal video that's about 2 minutes and something, because I wrote the review, but I couldn't, squish it down to a minute. So there's that. But then I re-edited my review. Obviously, had to take out some things, and it is in the shorts, in a minute-long version. Right, where were we? Right, so, Screen Rant. Sean Morrison, what's next for Wayland? I've been calling it Tantis. After Star Wars The Bad Batch's Season 3 finale, the fate of Mount Tantis and Wayland... So I'm reading it thinking, what's it got to do with Alien? Anyway. Seems to be set after the Bad... I know it's spelled differently. After the Bad Batch Season 3 finale, but there have been hints they could return in the future. Spoilers, by the way. This article contains spoilers for Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 3, Episode 15. The cavalry has arrived, or something like that. I was hoping, by the way, it's the episode was called something like The Cavalry Has Arrived. Does it say there? Does it say what it's called? I'm looking. No, it doesn't. But anyway, something like that. And I was hoping, because they did mention Rex. They were going to try and get a call out to Rex, so he could come with all the other clones, all the other free clones. But that never happened. So anyway, So there wasn't much of a cavalry in that episode. But anyway, right, Mount Tantiss, the home of Dr. Hemlock's research into cloning, was put out of commission in the finale of Star Wars The Bad Batch, but the planet it's on, Wayland, I didn't even know that. In my reviews, I've been calling it Tantiss. I've always been saying, on Tantiss. Obviously, that was just the mountain. I know, I've called it Mount Tantiss as well, but I thought it was the same. Anyway, could still have a role to play in the future of the franchise. The ending of The Bad Batch Season 3 resolved several huge plots, both for members of Clone Force 99 themselves and for Star Wars as a whole. Not all of those resolutions were complete, though, and there's a way for one important aspect of the season to make a major return. Agent May was there. It got me wondering now. Wait, listen, I'm thinking. You got me thinking now. I'm trying to... Because I know how you go things from different angles with Wingray. Ming-Na. I'm trying to think Ming-Na when. I don't know. Anyway. The finale of The Bad Batch Season 3 wrapped up many of its loose ends neatly, but it also left the door open for future plot lines in upcoming Star Wars movies and shows. One of the biggest ways The Bad Batch could connect to the future of Star Wars is through Project Necromancer. Oh, right, Ming-Na from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was nicknamed the Cavalry. Oh, right, I can't remember. I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I can't remember details like that. I can barely remember the series, to be honest. I forgot where I were up to. Upcoming Star Wars movies and shows. Right. One of the biggest ways the Bad Batch could connect to the future of Star Wars is through Project Necromancer, but that's been cancelled now. But anyway, the research project behind Emperor Palpatine's resurrection. Project Necromancer also provides a blueprint for the future of Wayland, despite its fate in the Bad Batch's finale. See, when that happened, when he cancelled it, in the episode, Tarkin arrives in his shiny new Star Destroyer, Imperial Star Destroyer, flanked by a couple of Venator-class Star Destroyers. And he said he cancelled it. Terminate Project Necromancer and reroute all, resources from it to Project Stardust, which is the Death Star, isn't it? So I was thinking, are they changing it now? Is this, Doomcock should be on alert now. They're changing the Star Wars canon. They're cancelling the sequel trilogy. I bet somebody said that. Anyway, in one of the final scenes of The Bad Batch, Governor Tarkin landed on Wayland and assessed the damage caused by Clone Force 99 and the other clones and Omega, and don't forget the Zillo Beast, which probably did most of the damage, and which is now stomping its way through the jungles of Wayland, which I thought were called Tantiss, but never mind. After hearing how none of Hemlock or Nalasay's research had survived, he ordered Mount Tantiss to be shut down and the funding for Project Necromancer to be diverted to Project Stardust instead. While that seems like the final nail in the coffin for Wayland and Project Necromancer, they seem to both be, third time lucky, important to the future of Star Wars. The Bad Batch's showrunner and the upcoming untitled Mandalorian movies director Dave Filoni confirmed that Wayland was meant to set up an aspect of Grand Admiral Thrawn's future story. Quote, in The Bad Batch, there is actually some crossover with the book Heir to the Empire in the military base of Tantiss, so there are little things along the way that I've built across different mediums, all in preparation for things that come later. So is Thrawn going to head back to Tantiss then? Mount Tantiss, Wayland, whatever it's called. As Filoni mentioned, Wayland was very important to Thrawn's story in Legends, what used to be called the expanded universe, whatever. And it looks like the planet will have a similar role in canon. Several aspects of Wayland... By the way, we've got another canon story right at the end about how canon works or doesn't work. Several aspects of Wayland have been changed in canon, such as its purpose shifting from Thrawn's base of operations to being tied more closely to Emperor Palpatine. Still, Filoni's comments indicate that he always planned to tie Wayland into future Star Wars stories in more ways than one. Despite the major setback in Project Necromancer, and even though Hemlock died and Mount Tantiss was shut down, his research continued without him. That's a very Tron-esque image. That is, yes, it is, isn't it? What we're looking at, that's the Emperor, isn't it? There's Hemlock and Nalisay. This must have been in this season, but I don't really remember it. Oh dear. Excellent. Oh, and that's the vault, isn't it? Where he keeps the kids, who are now safe on Pabu. Why hasn't the Empire gone and destroyed the colony or whatever you want to call it on Pabu? They know where it is. They've been. All them clones arrived and took it over, didn't they, for a while? And now they've sodded off again. And it's all lovely. But whatever. There we go. Project Necromancer was revived at some point prior to The Mandalorian, as it played a central role in that show's plot. It was the reason the Empire was searching for Grogu, which also allowed Hemlock to continue posing a threat to Force-sensitive children in a way. That, coupled with Filoni's quote, seems to indicate that Tantiss will be reactivated at some point between the Bad Batch and the Mandalorian, so its important research could continue. I won't be surprised if we see Hemlock again, a clone of him. Maybe it were a clone that died. We'll see, won't we? Yes, Section 31 reactivated it. Oh dear. Agent Giorgio. Right. Given Wayland's importance to the future of Star Wars, it seems quite likely that it and Mount Tantiss could make the jump from animation to live action. Filoni's comments make it seem like the details he has been sprinkling into Star Wars projects are building up to one large payoff, which is likely his Mandalorian-era movie. If that's the case, and Wayland proves to be as important to Thrawn's plans as he's indicated, there will almost certainly be a live-action version of the base. Thrawn will also likely play a large role in Ahsoka Season 2... Ahsoka. Ahsoka Season 2, which provides another opportunity for Tantiss to show up in live action. Tip! Speaking of tip, hit the super thanks button or the super chat button or whatever, if you want to. Dave Filoni's Mandalorian-era movie does not have a set release date yet, and Ahsoka Season 2 was only recently confirmed. I didn't even know it had been confirmed, to be completely honest. Even though I've probably done a story about it at some point. I have no memory whatsoever. Filoni's plans to connect his Star Wars projects is a bold new move for the franchise, and it could pay off incredibly well. In the past, Star Wars has been known for coming up with its stories on the fly and filling in the gaps later, the sequel trilogy. Filoni's approach seems to directly contradict that and display significant planning. Not that George Lucas were perfect and had everything worked out. He didn't, but the sequel trilogy were particularly egregious in that regard. A live-action version of the base, so CG, got it, yes. The base itself will be CG. In the volume, won't it? But anyway, you know what they mean. It's like live-action version of The Lion King. It wasn't live action at all, it was all CG. But anyway. I forgot where I was. Gaps later. Filoni's approach seems to directly contradict that and display significant planning that could make upcoming Star Wars projects feel more cohesive and interconnected than ever before, and it's an extremely promising direction for the franchise to take. It also means that But Ahsoka Season 1 was rubbish. It also means that even though the Bad Batch has ended, it can still contribute to Star Wars in a meaningful way. Is that it? Yeah, all right. So we'll see. I said in my review, though, that I'm sure we'll see him again. I'm sure we'll see Clone Force 99 again, either in live action or in another animated series, because I can't imagine that they're not going to do another animated series. They've got to do something, haven't they? in that same style as Clone Wars and Bad Batch and Rebels and all that. They've got to do another. I don't think they'll do another in the same style as Star Wars Resistance, because that only lasted a season, didn't it? And wasn't very popular, but I think the Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch animation style is quite popular, isn't it? And I think people tend to like it. Anyway, so there we go. So I'm sure we'll see him again. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Hemlock again. As I said, maybe it were a clone. It were a cloning facility after all, wasn't it? Or it were researching cloning in some way. So I'm sure he'll pop up again. They're making Jedi babies still, right? I've no idea. I don't know. They were getting... I don't know if they were... They had like higher midi-chlorian counts, didn't they, some of the kids? But they didn't seem to be able to use their Jedi powers, did they? If they had any. I think they just had higher midi-chlorian counts. So I don't know if they were Force users, but they were just getting the midi-chlorian counts, and they used Omega because her DNA allowed them basically to clone or insert midi-chlorians into clones or whatever, didn't it? Without rejecting. That's what Omega's DNA were good for. Anyway, but regular people are still making Jedi babies. But I don't know if the Empire's still trying to clone. Well, it's trying to clone them, isn't it? Because they did it in the sequel trilogy. I was thinking about the show Star Wars Young Jedi. Oh, I haven't seen that. Jedi Adventures, I haven't seen that. Haven't seen it. I don't even know what it's about. I don't even know when it's set. I don't know anything about it. Is it Tales of the Sith? Has that started? Because I'm sure I saw something about it. I didn't even notice. I'm going to have to check on Disney Plus. Because I like Tales of the Jedi. That's done in this animation style. And so I'll have to check, see if Tales of the Sith. No, that's starting on May the 4th, isn't it? Is it? Is it starting on Saturday, or is it starting next week? Or did it start? I don't know. We'll see. Anyway. But apparently that's High Republic era. Is it? All right. Okay. That's it. I don't know. Not seeing it. Not seeing it. Right. Let's move on. Spladosh. Oh, on the wrong screen. Pressing full screen on the wrong screen. Now, Star Trek. Here we go. What we got? How many Star Trek? We've got two Star Trek stories. Hang on. This first one's from The Big Issue. Right, who wrote this? Tom Salinsky. The Big Issue is a publication that helps homeless people in the UK. Anyway. Star Trek teaches us we can be better than we are, finding comfort and optimism in Star Trek. The world feels scary, unempathetic and dangerous right now. Now is when we need Star Trek's utopian vision of the future the most, says Tom Salinsky today. And there's William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy shooting the Brain, Windgrace, that. What do they call it now? In the books, they even had whatever it's bloody called, because my brain stopped working, on the bridge of the Enterprise. Horta, that's it. Horta, yes, thank you. Horta, yes. Tell you, losing my marbles, I am. Star Trek 4 is totally going to happen for real one day, definitely for sure. Don't know, don't really care, to be honest. Is that big? Is that a bit small? There we go. Right, Star Trek is back soon with the 5th and final season of Discovery launching on Paramount Plus, which has begun. We're in, 5 episodes in now, aren't we? And it's not been terrible, oddly enough. There will be plenty of people who will revel in its dark and gritty take on the franchise, light years away from the goofy coloured jerseys and computers which explode when you ask them a riddle, which we remember from the 60s show. But as someone who recently rewatched everything from the original series, 66 to 69, to Star Trek Enterprise, 2001 to 2005, excuse me, The dark and gritty nature of Discovery makes it rather atypical of the Star Trek franchise, and it risks throwing away the very thing which made the original series so groundbreaking and beloved. Bet he skipped the animated series. Bet he did. We'll see, won't we? By the way, I watched a couple of episodes of the animated series last week sometime, and I think it were the last two episodes. One with Captain April, or Commodore April, who I think were just voiced by James Doohan, I think. His voice didn't match the character, because he were talking like that. And another one. And they weren't very good. But anyway. Take the Devil in the Dark from the first season of Star Trek. This begins with Kirk and the Enterprise being called in to deal with a terrifying monster which has already killed 50 miners. Seemingly a pretty standard issue hunt the creature story. So far, so boy's own adventure. Only Spock's scientific curiosity about an organism which might be the last of its kind stands between our heroes and their bloodlust. But midway through comes the revelation that the monster is a mother protecting her eggs. Before we don't know. We know it was just a creature protecting the eggs. I don't know if it was the mother, but I don't think. But anyway. James Doohan voiced so many characters, and I know it's sacrilege, but he doesn't have many voices. No, he doesn't. His Data being the best of them. Mother that is protecting her eggs. Before the episode is over, Kirk is threatening to kill any miner who raises a hand to the thing. Does he? Can't remember. And in the end, he brokers a peace between the alien and the humans. The story is resolved through compassion and understanding rather than superior firepower. Yeah, it's a cool episode, is Devil in the Dark. Really good. Look at what Star Trek was up against on US TV in the 1960s. If you wanted something other than cop shows and cowboy shows, your choice was the goofy Lost in Space or the bleakness of the Twilight Zone. And the pattern continues. I don't know. I think Twilight Zone had finished, hadn't it, before Star Trek came on? Same with the Outer Limits. I don't know about Lost in Space. I think that may have overlapped, I think. Because it were in colour. And the pattern continues through movies and TV shows of the 1970s and 1980s. If you want your science fiction exciting and fun, here's Star Wars, where dozens of anonymous stormtroopers get slaughtered, but it's all just larks. Don't forget all them poor red shirts in Star Trek. Anyway, pick and choose. If you want your science fiction to play like serious drama, there's 2001: A Space Odyssey, in which a psychotic computer, except it wasn't, was it? Have you watched 2010? Answers it. Murders 4 men without ever raising its chillingly level voice. Star Trek lives in this middle ground where we aren't assuming a dystopian future where everything is awful. Lost in Space was 65 to 68. Thank you. Where everything is awful, but nor are we just playing everything for laughs either. When the show relaunched in the late 1980s as Star Trek The Next Generation, original creator Gene Roddenberry laid down firm rules which continued to be respected by his successors, more or less. Chief among them, no conflict between our regular characters, which they didn't do. They are the best of the best and won't succumb to petty personal vendettas. For many new scriptwriters, this was an insane directive. Drama lives in having characters with opposing viewpoints butt heads. And to be fair, there are quite a few rather dull episodes in the first couple of years of The Next Generation. But over time, having to stick to this rule forced the writing team to find unexplored areas of narrative, and the results include all-time classic episodes like Ship in a Bottle, that's the Sherlock Holmes one, isn't it? Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra, The Inner Light, where Picard lived an entire lifetime in his head in about 20 minutes or whatever, which is a great episode. Or I, Borg, where we met Hugh. Hugh. We'll call you Hugh, because you said you. For God's sake, Hugh. Star Trek teaches us that we can be better than we are. Of course, Hugh was murdered by Romulans in Star Trek Picard Season 1. Hugh isn't dead. Yeah, well. Star Trek teaches us that we can be better than we are, and in a world riven by conflict, it's a useful lesson. Later iterations of the franchise dealt with this in different ways. It's a slightly weird quirk of fate that the series about characters hanging out in a shopping mall in space, Deep Space Nine, it's one way of looking at it, ended up being the one about the horrors of war, the pain of generational trauma, horrors of war, obviously, the Klingon War that they had, and the Dominion War, generational trauma, obviously Jake's school and all that, and Nog, I suppose, to a certain degree, and the terrible things which people will do to obtain and cling on to power, various cultures, from the Federation to the Bajorans, and the Klingons and the Cardassians. Right, anyway, whereas the one about a tiny group of survivors stranded light years from home, desperately clinging on to the one small life raft Voyager, it's about the size-ish of a Constitution-class starship, but anyway, ended up being the one about spreading the Federation's optimistic vision of the future to far reaches of the galaxy. So it is with the current crop of shows, If the darker tone of Discovery isn't for you, then the breezier Strange New Worlds may be a better fit for your tastes. Yes, it is, for me anyway. I like Strange New Worlds. Or if you think that Strange New Worlds has gone too far, with its cartoon crossovers and characters bursting into song, then the pure nostalgia of the final season of Picard may be where you'll feel most at home. It was all right, you know. It wasn't as good as everybody made it out to be, but it was fine. But in all of its incarnations, there's an optimism about the future which Star Trek always carries with it, and maybe precisely because the world feels scary, unempathetic and dangerous right now is when we need Star Trek's utopian vision of the future most. I know that I was much happier watching and documenting 724 episodes of science fiction adventure than I was watching the news. There we go. So there we go. Star Trek Discovering the TV series by Tom Salinsky is out now, published by Pen and Sword for £25. You can buy it from the Big Issue shop. So there we go. Didn't mention Prodigy, no it didn't. Or Lower Decks, didn't mention that either, did it? Didn't mention the animated series, did he? So obviously he's not an animation fan. Yes, it is typical. So he's obviously not a fan of Star Trek animations, is he? So there we go. But I understand where he's coming from, and he's right, that we should strive to be better than we are. And that's what Star Trek teaches us, that we can be better and we can push forward without, not to detract from, what's gone before or others around us. We try and make ourselves and others better. That's what we've got to do, haven't we? Almost mentioned Lower Decks with cartoon crossover. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Yes, but not quite. It didn't quite get there, but it stuck in his throat, didn't it? I don't think he likes Strange New Worlds, but I do. I love it, and I can't wait for the next season. I want to see what happens with the Gorn. But anyway, right. So there we go. Let's move on. But yes, a good article on the whole, apart from their shooting the Horta. But they get Bones to come down, don't they, and repair it. Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer. Because it's a silicon-based life form. But he does fix it, because he says, Jim, I'm beginning to think I can cure a rainy day. Cool episode. See, I do remember some things. Some things do stick in my head. Right, what's next? More Star Trek. This is a humorous one. Hang on. This is the Enterprise news. It's not really news, it's just an article. From Slash Film. Whitney Seibold, obviously, because Whitney Seibold seems to always do the Star Trek stuff on Slash Film. Right, here we go. Right, Star Trek advertised Enterprise by having a Klingon knock out a hater. I don't know. Maybe this is in America, isn't it? So maybe Wyngrace knows about this. Star Trek Enterprise debuted on September 26th, 2001, the sixth official Star Trek series since the debut of Gene Roddenberry's original in 1966. I'm going to work it out now. Star Trek, is it counting the animated series? We'll see. The animated series, TNG, yes it is, yes. Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, yes. So they're counting the animated series. Right, cool. Enterprise came right at the end of a massive Star Trek renaissance that saw the 1987 debut of the massively successful Star Trek The Next Generation, the 1993 debut of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and the 1995 debut of Star Trek Voyager, and the release of Star Trek Generations, Star Trek First Contact, and Star Trek Insurrection in theatres. Are they not bothering with... oh no, it might have been after. I can't remember. When did Star Trek Nemesis come out? Was that after Enterprise? I can't remember. I think it was, wasn't it? Yes, it was, because there was the USS Archer mentioned on a screen, wasn't there? Anyway, in Nemesis. Right. The glut of Star Trek was a dream for TV programmers who would often schedule entire blocks of the franchise merely to puff up their docket. Personally, this author recalls a time when Next Gen DS9 in the original series would run back to back to back on certain weeknights. The Sci-Fi channel, now called Sci-Fi. I used to like watching the Sci-Fi channel. Back in the day, remember, this has been about 1995 or 1996. We started finally getting like cable TV in my area. So we signed up for it. It was called Cable Tel at the time. They had the Sci-Fi channel, and I used to love watching that. You are watching, because it used to come on and say, you are watching Mystery Science Theatre 3000 on the Sci-Fi channel, but in a woman's voice. Nemesis was end of 2002, thank you. Anyway, where were we? Sci-Fi. Also leaned heavily on Star Trek when it launched back in 1992. Star Trek reruns became part of the nascent cable station's bread and butter, ensuring that audiences would have access to the franchise almost 24 hours a day. I don't think they ever showed Star Trek on Sci-Fi Channel in the UK. I don't think. We saw stuff like Dark Skies and that's a Mystery Science Theatre and all that stuff. Indeed, there was a time in the late 1990s when it seemed that Sci-Fi channels and Viacom-associated TV affiliates played almost nothing but Star Trek. The property perhaps stood on the precipice of being overexposed. Star Trek fatigue. It was in that spirit that Space, the CTV Sci-Fi channel in Canada, chose to advertise the then upcoming Enterprise with a Star Trek-hating fanboy. Whining about how there was just too much Star Trek in the world. A sixth series, the protagonist of the commercials said, was one toke over the line as there weren't enough Trekkies in the world to justify the overwhelming volume. Cleverly, the whiner is socked in the face by a Trekkie dressed in full Klingon regalia. And there's a still from the ad. Let's watch the ad. Because there's a link for it there, I think. Or is it there? There is a link for it, so we'll watch it now. So just let me sort it out. Because it's on YouTube. Shush! Because it's on YouTube. Oh no, I don't need to do that, do I? Hang on. But meanwhile, Winger says, TNN and Spike were big Star Trek stations when I was a kid. Didn't have Sci-Fi. I'm trying to think what I think they just showed it on the BBC over here, I think. Oh no, on Sky. Sky is the big satellite provider. They used to show Star Trek on Sky. I don't recall this. Maybe I saw it when it was new. Right, anyway, so we'll watch this now. Here we go. Are you ready? I'll have to mute myself, I think. Have we got volume up? Yep.
Yes?
I have a petition here to stop the Space Channel from showing so much Star Trek. Could I please get your signature?
What show?
Star Trek. Look at the space schedule here. Star Trek the original, Star Trek the Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and Star Trek Voyager. It's all they play, and it's gotta stop.
Do they play Magnum P.I.?
No, ma'am, they don't. They play Star Trek. The only people that watch this crap live in their basement and have no lives. They wear stupid costumes, go to conventions, and call themselves captain and stuff. It's gotta stop, and will you please sign my petition?
Well, I still don't know what you're talking about, but I'll get my son to sign for you. Gary, get up here, dear. He lives in the basement. Such a nice boy.
Butak!
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Doha Jupadak Hasta. Charkum Raj.
Get ready for more Star Trek Enterprise, the new series, coming this fall to space.
Enterprise, the new series, coming this fall to space. Oh dear, that was fun, I enjoyed that. And Josh Temple's here, never fear, Maddie's here. Harpoon at the ready, but still creeping in the shadows. That's his usual introduction now, isn't it? Creeping in the shadows. Sounds like a song by Whitesnake. And Foxwood show Voyager weeknights at midnight and DS9 Sundays at 2 or 3. You mean the afternoon, I presume? Or 2 or 3 in the morning, don't know. But Windgrace remembers this now. I thought they were fun. I enjoyed that. Anyway, back to the article. Where were we? Oh, I've got a... Never mind. Where were we? Post-meridian, so in the afternoon. Right. The ad sees an angry young man wearing a No More Star Trek t-shirt and carrying a clipboard, knocking on the door of a suburban home. An old woman answers and the angry hater requests that she sign his petition, asking Space to stop running so much Star Trek. The old woman listens politely. You're starting, aren't you? Cat's starting. Look, leaping about. Bear with me. I'll go let her out. I'm back. She looks at me with those big, gorgeous eyes, and I can't get angry with her. Meridian. No, it is Meridian, isn't it? I thought you were right first time. Not Meridian. I've never called it Meridian, but anyway. I always said Meridian. After the Greenwich Meridian. But anyway. Right, where were we? The old woman listens politely as the bitter young man complains that Space is already running 4 Star Trek shows in a row, and that the only audience for such a thing is comprised of basement-dwelling nerds. They wear stupid costumes, he raves. Did he? I don't remember this bit. Go to conventions and call themselves captain and stuff. It's got to stop. I don't remember that. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. The old woman says that she won't sign his petition, but that her adult son Gary will. She calls Gary, and he emerges from the house dressed as a Klingon, complete with forehead makeup and a long wig. Maybe it's his real hair, you don't know. Gary immediately punches the hater in the face, causing him to fall backwards. Patach, he yells, a common Klingon insult. Gary's mom then turns to him and yells in Klingon that he fights without honour, that he must return to his quarters. The announcer then implores audiences to get ready for more Star Trek as Enterprise debuts in a few days. Post-meridium is Latin for after midday. I always said, I was taught at school post-meridian. Ante-meridian and post-meridian, that's what I was taught at school. None of these M's at the end. Anyway, whatever. Despite the 1990s glut of Star Trek, many sci-fi fans felt like a cat in a sunbeam. This was a time when they could remain comforted at all hours, happy to be warmed by their favourite space opera. Was space showing too much Star Trek? For many there was no such thing. Whining about Star Trek would only invite punches to the face by angry Klingons. Modern Trekkies have been similarly spoiled by a second Star Trek renaissance. whatever, if you want to call it that. When CBS All Access launched in 2017, it debuted Star Trek Discovery, the first Star Trek TV series since the cancellation of Enterprise in 2005. Discovery was merely a statement of intent by Paramount to put all of its eggs in the Star Trek basket. In the next 4 years, the streaming service, eventually called Paramount Plus, debuted Star Trek Short Treks, which are generally crap. Star Trek Picard, the first two seasons were crap. Star Trek Lower Decks, which I initially hated, but now I really like it. Star Trek Prodigy, which is good. And Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which I love. There was a brief window when all 6 of these shows seemed to be in production simultaneously, and Paramount announced plans for even more Star Trek shows. One can imagine an advertisement, whatever, for Paramount Plus, wherein a Star Trek-hating nerd tried to start an online petition declaring that there was too much Star Trek in the world, only to be punched out by Jet Reno, Tig Notaro. Despite the number of Star Trek shows, however, seasons had been reduced from their 90s heyday of 26 episodes to a streaming standard of 10 to 13. Ultimately, the number of raw Trek hours was about the same as in the 1990s. Of course, a hater didn't need to take out Enterprise or the second Star Trek Renaissance. The former suffered from poor ratings in a post-9/11 world and was cancelled after 4 seasons, which is, a tragedy, because it was my favourite Star Trek is Star Trek Enterprise. Anyway, I preferred CBS All Access because it was broken and you could watch it without paying. And then they got their act together, did they? Made Paramount Plus, which I subscribed to, but via Amazon. You're supposed to be able to sign into the Paramount Plus app or whatever, or on the computer, if you've got an Amazon account, but I haven't figured it out yet. They didn't used to be able to let you do it, but maybe they fixed it. I don't know. I'll have to try it again. Because I'm sure they don't have everything on Amazon. Anyway, whatever. That's on the app. More recently, the streaming model has proven difficult to make profitable, and Paramount can no longer afford to make as much Star Trek as it did, which has led to it cancelling most of its shows as of this writing. Strange New Worlds and the upcoming Starfleet Academy, which nobody wants to see, are the only ones with a definite future. Sad to say, that guy in the No More Star Trek t-shirt got his way. Yes, in a way, but like I said, we've got the Section 31 movie coming, and I said the Starfleet Academy. Is it going to be called Starfleet Academy or Star Trek Academy? I don't know. That's coming. 2 things which we don't want to see, but no Star Trek bloody Legacy, is there? Because Kurtzman doesn't want that. But it's not up to him. Yes, it bloody is. It's up to him to push it to the people further up the tree. A hater did take it out. His name was Les. Yes, Les Moonves, the boss of CBS. At the time, or Paramount, whatever they were the boss of. He hated science fiction and Star Trek in particular, didn't he? I'm fine with Section 31 as a film. Yeah, we'll see, won't we? We'll see. But they could just cancel that and Starfleet Academy and just do Star Trek Legacy instead. They'd bugger that up as well, though, wouldn't they? They would. They'd make a mess of that. And I'm banking on Legacy to be greenlit when Skydance officially takes over. Well, you know what I've said. Mid-2025. We'll see. It's not going to happen. I don't think. Unless Kurtzman has a change of heart. Anyway, I suppose it depends how well the Section 31 film is received and how well the Starfleet Academy show does. Have they started filming that yet? I know they started filming Season 3 of Strange New Worlds, haven't they? Have they started filming the Academy one yet? I have no idea. But anyway, that was a fun advert. I enjoyed watching that. That was cool because it reminded me of Enterprise. I'm going to start rewatching Enterprise from the beginning. I've been watching a bit of Next Gen and a bit of the original series and a bit of Deep Space Nine. But no Voyager. I've been watching Voyager for a while. I don't know why. I'd been watching it, episode to episode, watching it, what's the word? Literally or laterally through the series. For some reason I stopped. I've got to the episode in, I don't know which season it's in. Is it 5 or 6? Where they're at that space station. And everybody's like bringing gifts and stuff on board. And there's those ex-Borgs that were stranded on a planet with 7 of 9. Like, I don't know, several years earlier, 5 years earlier, whatever. But anyway. I'm up to that one, and for some reason I haven't carried on watching it, and I've got a hair or something, or a cobweb, or a ghost is touching my face. I don't know. Right. Wingrace says they have built the sets from Academy. Oh, right. In the shape of the Enterprise bridge. The ISS Enterprise. Anyway. Production is underway, with filming expected to start in late summer, with the first season confirmed to be 10 episodes. Okie dokie. We'll see what happens with that. Maybe it'll surprise us and be surprisingly good. You never know. But I don't like, I forgot her name, Mary Wiseman. I don't like. She gets on my nerves. As the seasons have gone on, Discovery, I've liked her less and less and less. She was fine at the beginning, you know. She was kind of bubbly and, you know, endearing. But as it's gone on, I don't know, it just annoys me now. Anyway, so there we go. So that's that one, right. So, just thought that were a bit of fun. Anyway, next up, Henry Cavill. Right, this is from That Park Place. John F. Trent, rumour, Henry Cavill not happy with Warhammer's introduction of female, how do you say it? Is it Custodes or Custodes? I don't know, because I'm not into Warhammer. Amazon wanted female space marines. A new rumour alleges... Lots of rumours on the internet. A new rumour alleges that Amazon MGM Studios and Prime Video wanted female space marines for their upcoming Warhammer film or series, being helmed by Henry Cavill. However, Games Workshop compromised with female Adeptus Custodes. There we go. Is that a female one? Can't tell. This latest rumour comes in the wake of Games Workshop introducing a female Adeptus Custodes character named Custodian Calades Teavalia Kesh. Callie for short, probably, in their Codex Adeptus Custodes. Not only did Games Workshop introduce the character, but the official Warhammer social media account gaslit fans, claiming there have always been female custodians, despite the overwhelming evidence to the contrary. And there's the tweet. Since the first of the 10,000 were created, there have always been female custodians. In the wake of this announcement, a rumour surfaced on 4chan, claim, 4chan, where all the legitimate news stories come from. I've never been on 4chan. I've never been on it. I always think it's like deep web stuff. 4chan. It just reminds me of like a place that you're not really supposed to go. But anyway, wish I was not in the shadows. But new job, I have lots of meetings. Keeping you busy, are they? Typical. Typical. I hope you're enjoying it, though. I hope you're enjoying your new job. Right, anyway, in the wake of this announcement, a rumour surfaced on 4chan. Hang on. Careful with 4chan. Certain YouTubers got caught announcing fake stories from there. See? Female Custodes are only going to be mentioned in the Codex. No new sculpts or characters after the fact. Social media department jumped the gun and tried to put out fires with the wrong hose. Intent is to push female Custodes character in Amazon show without it breaking law, because Amazon execs wanted a woman in power armour and wouldn't settle for Sisters of Battle. People involved in the show are pissed, because in the UK we'd say pissed off, When you're pissed in the UK, it means you've been drinking alcohol heavily. But anyway, because they've been moving ahead on the Eisenhorn. They're taking the hobbits to Eisenhorn. Or whatever. Talks of inserting said female Custodes into Eisenhorn story with Cavill threatening to walk away from the project. Small stock drop today, but Games Workshop figures it can ride it out if it stays mum on the subject. They really need better social media employees, the leaker added. Cavill will be in an article due to heading to Games Workshop to work on the new series this week or next. The leaker concluded if he leaves, it'll be a noticeable hit to the share price, meaning the show is dead. Pardon me. Good ending. Or Amazon is calling the shots. Bad ending. Not Black Chagorians, but similar scenario. I have no idea what they're talking about. You can trust me, my dad works at Nintendo. Okay. Was that a joke? I don't know. Now, a new rumour from YouTuber The Archcast and his inside source at Amazon. Oh, by the way, that's the 4chan thing. From the deep, dark web. Now, a new rumour from YouTuber The Archcast and his inside source at Amazon MGM Studios. I wonder if it's the same one that talks to Side Trek. I don't know. Alleges that Amazon did indeed influence the introduction of a female Adeptus Custodes and that it was the result of a compromise because the streamer wanted female space marines. Arch begins his video stating, "My Amazon insider has given me some more information in regards to the female Custodes debacle and Amazon's involvement in it, which may at least in part exonerate Games Workshop." All these YouTubers have all these insiders, don't they? There's like this underground railroad of information. All these people putting their jobs on the line, leaking things out. Anyway. A bit later, he detailed, according to my insider here, the attitude at the Amazon Games Workshop meetings reached downright threatening levels where the two sides were not happy with one another at all, with Games Workshop actually pushing back quite aggressively on the idea of female space marines. Probably understanding to do so would be devastating to their company. I mean, look at the sheer scale of the shitstorm, I swore, that was created by female Custodes, which is not anywhere near as massive a faction as the Space Marines. He continued, GW, Games Workshop, knowing this would be a terrible idea, pushed back a lot, but Amazon were not willing to give up on this either, and may have carried out various little tactics like threatening to bring back people on Amazon who were selling third-party goods for 40k related stuff, as they did even take down things like alternative dice sellers, and people were selling bases and so on. That might have been a thing, and they might also have perhaps been talking about leaving the conversation altogether. And there's a picture of lots of people standing on top of each other. Meanwhile, Wingrace says, lots of people going on these places pretending to be insiders. If you get big enough, you might get a couple of real insiders hoping to use you to get things out. Maybe so. Maybe so. I'm just, I'm jaded. I'm jaded. And I think sometimes just some people just make things up. Anyway. Next, you said big enough. People like Mike Zero's, is he still one of the biggest YouTubers? He used to be, didn't he? He just made all this stuff up, didn't he? But anyway. Next, Arch details. Eventually, my insider says Games Workshop caved in part and the female Custodes was a compromise solution intended both to ameliorate relationships with Amazon by going, okay, how about this? You'll have your female power armour, but we won't do it with the Space Marines, okay? And also as a way to demonstrate to Amazon that this was not going to go over very well. It's 75% made up. If not more. But whether or not it's the YouTuber making it up or someone behind the scenes making it up and then emailing them is the question. Yes. I think sometimes, I don't know, it could be from anybody, couldn't it? You get this information. So somebody might be saying, I work at MGM, and how do you prove it? Don't know. Do they send you a pay slip or something? But even that could be fake, couldn't it? Anyway, In fact, Arch detailed that an automated Amazon system has noticed significant complaints regarding the company's various IP-related shows, such as Wheel of Time, which I've not seen, but I've heard is not very good, Rings of Power, which a lot of people really, really hate, but I didn't really hate it. I thought it was stupid, but I didn't hate it, oddly enough. And Warhammer. Arch shared, and indeed Amazon's bots as well, that monitor the feedback that Amazon gets, has been noticing a sharp uptick in people sending in complaints about them ruining universes like the Rings of Power and mentioning the 40k TV show in specific. Or specifically. Now these have not been acted upon, nor is there any indication that Amazon is particularly concerned yet, but there is now a sufficiently large enough volume of these complaints ahead of time to the point where they're scraping bots. The software looking for feedback is picking up on it and going, there's a lot of these. Should some human take a look at this maybe? Do we know? Is this the bots talking? Do we know what's going on here? 10 again. What is causing this trend of negative feedback? That's Mage Fraser here, look. This is not affiliated with me. Oh dear. In both cases, we called the electricity board, who replied, I'm sorry, this has got nothing to do with us. So that's an old joke from British telly back in the early 80s, late 70s. Where were we? Which, hey, it might be a wonderful way of teaching Amazon that this might not be something they want at all, Arch suggested. Following this portion of the rumour, Arch turned his attention to what a source told him about Cavill's reaction. He stated, as for Henry Cavill, I have also heard something related to him now, namely that he's quite upset about this change. He's pissed at it, or pissed off, but he's not going to walk. Bearing in mind that we don't even know if it is possible for him to walk at this point, as his introduction and, co-starring and producing in this was one of the earliest fundamental pieces of news about the Amazon Games Workshop TV show, he added. For all we know, he could be, spell commas and stuff, he could be bound hand and foot by contractual obligation and penalties at this point. Yes, like I say, if he just walked, it could cost him, potentially millions, couldn't it? Alternatively, again, it's an Amazon paycheck. I'm not entirely sure I would be willing to turn that down, much less somebody who is an actual actor and this is being his job. But if we're doing his job right as a producer of the show, it should be in a contract or something that, he has final say, or if he's producing it, 'cause it's his production company that's making it, isn't it, I think? Or it should be something like he wants it to stick closely to the proper original canon of the law of Warhammer 40k, and if at any time he thinks it is straying from what the contract states, then he has the option to leave at his discretion. They test stuff like that, don't they, in legalese? But anyway. Alternatively, again, it's an Amazon paycheck. I'm not entirely sure I would be willing to turn that down, much less somebody who's an actual actor and this is being his job. Have I read that already? I don't know. Arch then opined, I wouldn't be surprised if he is indeed quite upset about this, because this is also his main faction, the Adeptus Custodes. And there he is in The Witcher. Another series I've never seen. I started watching it, couldn't get into it. I think I've watched the first episode like twice, and I've not got past it. Anyway. What do you make of this latest rumour regarding Warhammer 40k and the introduction of the female Adeptus Custodes? Why has John F. Trent jumped ship to that part place from Bounding into Comics? Because he's just writing the exact same sort of articles in the same style, ending with a question like that. What do you think of all this? But just in a different place. I'd like to be a fly on the wall. But anyway, that's not what they were talking about. So, yes, he's not happy then that the potentially changing things. We will see. Like I say, I know nothing about Warhammer. I've never got into it or anything. I don't know any. I've not played any of the games or anything. I know bugger all about it. But it's Henry Cavill, and people are interested in him, aren't they? So we will see what happens. He got kicked out and started this on his own, did he? Oh, right, okay. See, I don't follow the grapevine. That's what I was trying to think of. So he got kicked out. I thought Bounding Into Comics were his baby. So they did. It's not like there haven't been allegations as there are, like with what's his face. I forgot his name. They ended up doing Popcorn Planet, something like that. I forgot his name. Andy Signor. He set up something and then got booted out after allegations, didn't he? It's not something like that, I hope. I don't know. Anyway, so there we go. So that's Warhammer. There we go. Moving on. We're getting there. Oh, a bit of Cthulhu stuff next, which I didn't even know this was being made. This is the first I've heard of it. Hang on. That's what I heard. It was too spicy. Well, so I always said, didn't I? When I was reading Bounding Into Comics, I always said it could get spicy. And they were losing sponsors. All right. I wonder if it were getting too... I don't know, because he went quite religious for a while, didn't he? I noticed. Doing a lot of, religion-themed stories. But anyway, maybe that had something to do with it as well. But it's still quite spicy over at Bounding Into Comics, They don't seem to have changed much from when he were there. But anyway, he's at that part place now, working with WDW Pro and the others. I forgot the names. Anyway. Right. Oh, hang on. I'm full screen. Just a minute. Next up. From Screen Rant. Dhruv Sharma. James Wan's next horror movie, or one. I always say Wan, because I'm from Yorkshire. I say water, don't say water. I'm off to drink of water. That's how we talk. James Wan's next horror movie is brilliantly copying the approach of this surprise sci-fi hit from 2018. Well, I hope not, if it's that. James Wan's next horror movie is a risky project, but its critical success is almost guaranteed because it's copying a surprise sci-fi hit's approach. Instead of taking the conventional route, James Wan's next horror movie is brilliantly treading the same path as a 2018 sci-fi film. This is all rumours, who knows? Yeah, well, rumours and speculation. I got into trouble for saying that to somebody once, didn't I? Anyway, in his career as a director, James Wan has dabbled with films of diverse genres and themes. For instance, his latest directorial endeavour was with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which I've heard is not bad. I've not seen it, but I've heard it's not bad. In the past, he has also helmed a few instalments of the Fast and the Furious franchise. I think I've seen the first 3, 2. I don't know, I can't remember. Anyway. However, despite having films of distinct genres in his directorial portfolio, Wan is best known for his work in horror movies like Insidious. It's one of my favourite horror films. Not the sequels, the first one. The Conjuring. It's not too bad. I prefer the Annabelle films to the Conjuring films, to be completely honest. But anyway, Saw. I like the Saw films. I like watching those. And Malignant, it was just hysterical. That was just funny. But anyway. Watch Malignant. It's mental. It is. And you get halfway through and you'll just be laughing at it. It is. It's crap. But funny. But it's not supposed to be. Anyway, this makes his return to the horror genre with his next film even more exciting. More than this, his return to the genre, however... what makes this upcoming horror film intriguing is that it will likely not conform to the well-worn tropes and run-of-the-mill ideas of horror. Instead, it will seemingly emulate the recipe of a 6-year-old sci-fi movie that has surprisingly grown more and more popular over time. 6 years. Right. Alex Garland's Annihilation, there. faced several roadblocks and issues even before its release. After its test screenings, the initial audience response was so poor that Skydancer's producer, David Ellison, grew concerned about the film's potential lack of appeal to the masses. He believed Annihilation was too complex and demanded viewers to be too intellectual to understand its ending. Ellison not only wanted Alex Garland to change Annihilation's mind-bending ending, 10 again, but also wanted him to make Natalie Portman's character Lena seem more sympathetic via The Hollywood Reporter. The deal led to several behind-the-scenes clashes that affected its distribution, but Alex Garland stood his ground and did not make any unnecessary alterations to the story or to its story. Although Annihilation was not a box office success, I thought it were on Netflix. Was it? But did it have a theatrical release? I thought it were a Netflix exclusive. I could be wrong. It has garnered a cult classic status since its release and is often touted as one of the best Lovecraftian movies. I don't know. I never thought of it as Lovecraftian, to be completely honest, but anyway. From the looks of it, James Wan is taking a similar approach with his upcoming H.P. Lovecraft adaptation, The Call of Cthulhu. Oh, I didn't even know this was coming. Opening up about his upcoming cosmic horror project, Wan revealed that he expects The Call of Cthulhu to be a hard sell. By the way, I've read The Call of Cthulhu, and I can't remember anything about it. There's a ship and an island, and I can't remember. And things happen. I've forgotten. However, despite knowing, and I think they go under the water as well in it, don't they? I think. I can't remember. That's a while since I've read it. Are you thinking of Extraction? Annihilation isn't even on Netflix. Well, it might be over here. I'm sure I've seen it. I'm sure it was on Netflix over here. I'm going to check now. Checking. No, I'm not thinking of Extraction either. Extraction is nothing like Annihilation. Oh, dear. Oh, what are you asking me to sign in for? I signed in ages ago and never signed out. I don't remember my password, for Pete's sake. Let's have a look. Have I got it written down? Is it not on camera? Oh dear. Where is it? God knows. I've got to have all my passwords written down on scrappy bits of paper. Oh dear. I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea what my Netflix password is. Without looking it up. It's not in there. Is it? No. Found it. Blank, is that my password? Bloody hell. No wonder I don't know it. Right. I won't say it out loud. Oh, me bloody fat fingers. Trouble with passwords, you've got to put bloody capitals and special letters and all this crap in and numbers. And it gets annoying when you're doing it with one hand because you're holding it on a written bit of paper in the other. Oh, for God's sake, it says incorrect password. I'm sure I typed it in right. I bet I've changed it since. Yeah, that's what it says there. I bet I've changed it since. I don't know what I've changed it to. And I haven't written it down. Because I'm stupid. Oh, never mind. But I'm sure I saw it on Netflix. It was on Netflix. Maybe it's not now, but it was at some point. Yes, I forgot password. Never mind. Don't matter. Oh, it left Netflix in September over here. All right. So it might not even be on Netflix. Extinction. No, I've not seen that one either. That's the one with... I can never remember his name. It was in Ant-Man. The one that did the funny stories in Ant-Man. Him. I can never remember his name. That's that one, isn't it? I've not seen it. Anyway, where were we? Opening up about his upcoming cosmic horror project, one revealed, whatever, that he expects the Call of Cthulhu to be a hard sell. However, despite knowing how challenging it will be for the film to find distributors because of its esoteric elements, he has been writing its script purely out of passion. James Wan's commitment to delivering a loyal Lovecraftian film, despite the risks involved, proves that, like Garland, he is willing to embrace his artistic integrity instead of making safe bets. I'm trying to think what happens in the Call of Cthulhu. Is it? It's out in the ocean, that meet somewhere. And I'm sure they go swimming. They find like a city or whatever under the sea or whatever. I think. If I'm thinking right. I can't bloody remember. Anyway. Yes, him. Yes, him. Pena. Yeah, him. He's in extinction. Right. One's dedication to delivering a faithful Lovecraftian adaptation may be esoteric and hard to sell, can almost be seen as a testament to the film's potential to transcend mainstream horror and deliver a unique cinematic experience like Annihilation. The cosmic horror genre may have garnered a relatively bigger following in recent years, but it has never appealed to the masses. Even in the early 1900s, when H.P. Lovecraft published his horror short stories, most of the author's tales went unnoticed and got him little to no remuneration. Do I have to read this, or is it going to repeat it somewhere? No. Considering how most cosmic horror stories and adaptations take their time to find their targeted audiences and reach the level of appreciation they deserve, it is good that James Wan is carefully managing his expectations and focusing more on his craft. Oh, no, it is there. Oh, bloody hell. I'll just look down to see if it was repeated in the text, and it is. Never mind. However, decades after his demise, the horror author has a subgenre dedicated to his work, and his stories have inspired some of the greatest horror writers like Stephen King and Neil Gaiman, amongst others. Event Horizon In the Mouth of Madness are good in that area. Yes, and so, really, is John Carpenter's The Thing. That's probably the closest version we've had to At the Mountains of Madness, isn't it, really? Is John Carpenter's version of The Thing. I did a story a couple of years ago when Guillermo del Toro released footage, remember? Released footage of his test footage of his version of At the Mountains of Madness. And, you know, well, it never got made. And that's one Lovecraft story that everybody seems to want to be made because it's cool. It is. It's a great story. Giant penguins and everything. Giant blind albino penguins. Anyway, considering I just read that out. Owing to this, like Alec Garland's Annihilation, James Wan's The Call of Cthulhu may not commercially succeed, but will likely garner the respect of horror purists. Oh, it was a Paramount Pictures or Annihilation. Why did I think it were a Netflix exclusive then? I don't know. Weird that. I just did. And it wasn't because of COVID either, because it was 2018, wasn't it? And COVID didn't appear till the early 2020 or late 2019, did it? So can't even blame it on that. Maybe I'm just remembering wrong. That Colour of Space, that were another good or interesting thing with Nicolas Cage, another Lovecraftian adaptation. There've been loads, haven't there? Like Reanimator, which just in name only, really. So I've read Reanimator. It's not much like the film, and From Beyond, and all those. But hopefully it'll be good, and hopefully we'll get to see Cthulhu. They're an interpretation of him there behind Natalie Portman. But everybody's seen the Cthulhu pictures, haven't they? On the internet. Huge, the god Cthulhu, Lord Cthulhu with his wings and his tentacles and all that. But yes, Lovecraft Country, yes. We saw him at the beginning of that, didn't we? I quite enjoyed that. It was a bit messagey. Well, it was a lot messagey, but it had some interesting things in it. And like I said, we saw Cthulhu in it, didn't we? And there were some monsters in it, I think, later on, that reminded me of creatures from At the Mountains of Madness, particularly the noises they made Reminded me of Ticka-lily sort of thing, you know. How it's written in the book. Is it Ticka-lily or something like that? That they're supposed to sound like these creatures. But anyway. Anywho. So there we go. So, Call of Cthulhu's coming from James Wan. First I've heard of it. I'm looking forward to that. If I'm looking forward to it, probably mean it'll be rubbish, because that's what generally happens. That's what generally happens. You build up your hopes and it's crap. But anyway, next up, Battlestar Galactica. This is from Inverse Ryan Britt. The ending of the 1979 Battlestar Galactica is way better than it should be. The classic sci-fi show's finale was unexpected, but perfect. You know, to be completely honest, I can't remember how it ended. It's that long since I've watched the original Battlestar Galactica. Apart from the movie version, you know, the theatrical Battlestar Galactica. I can't remember a huge amount about it, to be honest. Same with Galactica 80. Everybody knows the Return of Starbuck, but the rest of it, don't know. I remember Wolfman Jack appearing in an episode. Anyway, for many, the title Battlestar Galactica, one of the best titles, you know, ever, innit? Conjures up images of Edward James Olmos barking orders into a retro phone, Tricia Helfer in a slinky dress, or perhaps even early aught jokes from The Office or Portlandia. But before there was the groundbreaking 2003 to 2009 Battlestar reboot, there was the humbler, but no less important 1978 to 79 Battlestar Galactica that started it all. And on April 29th, 1979, the last episode of the show's first season became the show's de facto series finale. Interestingly, unlike the series finale of the reboot Battlestar, the last episode of the original show holds up much better, even if this was never really the plan. Dick Van Dyke's son, lol. Yes, in Galactica 80, yes. Dick Van Dyke were in that. As... I can't remember. I can't remember the character's name. Troy and the other one. I can't remember his bloody name now. Anyway, that's it. My brain sees her up. I can see him in me. I can see the Troy who were boxy. And I can't remember his name either. But his partner, who was supposed to be like the Starbuck, wasn't he? Troy was like the Apollo, because Richard Hatch didn't want to return, did he? So the rejigged it, didn't they? Made it into the 30 years after the first season. And got, what's his bloody name now? He was in Predator 2 and other things. Anyway, he played Troy, who were boxy. So for some reason changed his name, don't know why. He became Captain Troy, didn't it? And his partner was Lieutenant something. I can't remember. Anyway, in Galactica 80, which were terrible for the most part, apart from the Return of Starbuck. Here's why The Hand of God is such a great episode of classic BSG, why it's worth another look, and how it should serve as a strange lesson to sci-fi shows today. Spoilers ahead. Like the reboot series, the classic BSG follows a group of humans fleeing from the Cylons, robots, sort of. The Imperious leader was kind of reptilian, had Patrick McNee's voice. It were all kind of confusing. Who have massacred their home planets known as the colonies. These humans are of the Star Wars variety, not from Earth. But they speak English and may or may not be having their adventures in the distant past or at some points in the future or now. Because it says, some believe even now. Oh, it says down there. We'll get to that. When the show debuted in 1978, the mythology leaned heavily on the idea that these humans were connected to ancient aliens. I think Eric von Daniken were an inspiration. Also, so was what's his face? Glenn A. Larson. Was he a Mormon? I don't know anything about Mormons, but used that in the stories and basic stuff. Anyway, right, the opening voiceover narration performed by the legendary Patrick McNee, a.k.a. John Steed from The Professionals, amongst other things, profess that there are those who believe that life here began out there, far across the universe, with tribes of humans who may have been the forefathers of the Egyptians or the Toltecs or the Mayans, and blah, blah, blah. Some believe that they may yet be brothers of man who even now fight to survive. Oh, somewhere beyond the heavens, that was in the series, but in the film it was far, far away amongst the stars. Din, 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 etc. So a big part of the overall mystery of the original Battlestar Galactica is if and when the fleet would find Earth, and when they did, what era of Earth would they discover? Eventually, the nearly unwatchable sequel series Galactica 1980 settled on the year 1980, but when the real BSG ended in 1979, things were more ambiguous. At the start of the episode, Apollo, Richard Hatch, Starbuck, Dirk Benedict, Sheba, Anne Lockhart, and Cassiopeia, Loretta Spang, pick up a transmission from what we know is the Apollo 11 moon landing in 1969. But as Boomer, Herbert Jefferson Jr., explains, it's possible the signal is either very contemporary or thousands of years old. Don't you know? Couldn't they triangulate the signal or whatever to find out how long it's been, going? But anyway, whatever. And if you consider Galactica 1980 to be non-canon, which you really should, I don't think this writer, who wrote this by the way, I've forgotten, Britt somebody or other, wasn't it? Ryan Britt, that was it. I don't think he liked Galactica 80, did he? The show actually ended with very cool ambiguity. Was the Galactica about to roll upon us at any moment, which in Galactica 80 it did, or would they arrive in our distant future? As Anne Lockhart put it, in the BSG oral history book So Say We All, it was one of the most interesting science fiction concepts. That concept was very cool. At its most enjoyable, Battlestar Galactica was basically a show about starfighter pilots living and working on a massive aircraft carrier in space. After several episodes of moving away from this format, The Hand of God doubles down on the classic Galactica formula and presents a moment where our heroes can take out a Cylon base star by launching a sneak attack, and in a plot device that predates the events of Return of the Jedi. The best way for this attack to work is if a small team sneaks onto the base star first and deactivates the scanners, flying a stolen Cylon ship. Starbuck and Apollo have to land on the base star, not get noticed by the Cylon soldiers, and then blow up the control room. In my headcanon, they arrive and contact the SGC. Oh dear. I wonder if the Stargates, on like colony worlds that we could travel to, on Caprica and all that. This daring suicide mission, featuring a plan with multiple moving parts, was not intended to be the last episode of the series. There are lots of reasons why Battlestar was cancelled after one season, and the biggest problem was money. At the time, it was simply one of the most expensive shows on TV, even though they reused the special effects ad infinitum, ad absurdum, and as such ABC and Universal pulled the plug. But because the season finale combines all the best elements of the entire show, the camaraderie of the Viper pilots, the robotic evil of the Cylons, by your command, and the ongoing mystery of Earth, I never liked Lucifer, them Cylons. I never liked them ones. Anyway, and the timeline in general, this episode became a kind of microcosm for everything that was good about the series. In fact, if you were to only watch one episode of the 70s Battlestar, it might be this one. The characters are fully established, the show is confident in what it is about, and best of all, it's not rushing to answer any questions too quickly. On top of all this, the mysteries left unsolved in The Hand of God aren't frustrating or confusing. Everything here makes sense, and it's okay that this is where Battlestar Galactica stopped. Sure, it would have been cool had the show gotten a proper second season, but as it stands, the legacy of the classic show is a positive one, because the writing, sci-fi ruminations, and pew-pew action all hold up splendidly over 40 years later. Battlestar Galactica Classic is streaming for rental at Amazon Prime. Is it? I'm going to check that. I've got it on DVD over there, but, you know, DVDs. So, 20th century. Where are we? Amazon, where are you? Where's me tabs and stuff? Looking Prime Video. Where is it? Where's Prime Video? There it is. I bet it's not in the British one. I bet it's not. Right, let's have a look. Ooh. Ooh, it is. Battlestar Galactica Classic, Season 1. It's only in standard definition. Hey, I'm tempted to buy that. Season 1, standard definition, $12.99. I'll add it to my watch list and give it a thumbs up, and I may have another go. Oh, what was that? More purchase options. Oh no, it's just. No. I might do. tempted to buy that. Anyway. And then they built Kit from recovered Cylons. Yes, he's. I think you should use the turbo boost, David, Michael, whatever. Michael Knight, wasn't it? Michael Knight. Dear. So there we go. So I can't remember, you see. I'm going to have to rewatch it. I can't remember what happened in the first season. I remember the old One-Eye, the cowboy, come back, Shane sort of episode where Apollo has to does a gunfight with a Cylon, doesn't he? Remember that one? There was a gun, the gun on Planet Zero or something like that. Where it's like a snow planet or something like that. I bet that was an expensive one. What else do I remember? The one there was a fire. I think that was an early episode. There was a fire in the hangar bay, and Adama were hurt, and the scanners or something were damaged or something. And Adama was saying, "The Vipers can be our eyes," and all that stuff. Anyway, whatever. And of course, Lloyd Bridges arrived in it as Commander Kane in the Pegasus, which were released theatrically in the UK. They stuck those two together. Living Legend, that was the episode, wasn't it? They stuck those two episodes together and released it theatrically in the UK as Mission Galactica, the Cylon Attack, and I went to see that at Pictures as well. I don't know if it were in widescreen, though. Might have been, but I can't remember. But the rest of it, I can't really remember much about it. I remember Patrick McNee appearing as the Devil, but I don't really remember much about that episode. And there was the one with the spaceship where when it took them aboard, all the clothes turned white for some reason. But that's about it. That's about all I can remember. So there we go. So I might buy that on Amazon and just watch it because I love Battlestar Galactica. And I'll probably watch it and think, oh, that were crap. What did I pay $12.99 for? Oh dear. Right, next up. Alien. We're entering the Alien Omniverse now. On Screen Rant, Tommy Lethbridge. I wonder if he's related to the Lethbridge Stewarts. Ridley Scott's Alien Retcon plan risks repeating one of Sci-Fi's most overused story tropes. Oh, pardon me, let's have a drink. That's my pop gone. Ridley Scott's Alien prequels retcon key aspects of the franchise. He's talking about Prometheus and Covenant, isn't he? But one decision risks repeating one of Sci-Fi's most common and cliched themes. I thought it might have been going on about the upcoming series or Alien Romulus, but anyway. Let's have a read. Ridley Scott's two completed Alien prequels have already made significant changes to the series' established lore. But if the director ever completes his story and continues with his planned narrative, the films risk repeating a tired sci-fi trope. After originating the Alien series in 1979, Scott has revisited and revised the franchise's narrative. Both Prometheus and Alien Covenant upended elements of the original story, creating conflicting plot points and narrative details in the process. I didn't mind Prometheus, but Alien Covenant were bloody stupid. I hated it. I mean, why did you need facehuggers? It was just floating about on the planet in these little black spores or whatever that went in this fella's ear, and then a chest burster came out of him later on, or whatever, or came out of his back, or an alien birthed itself from him out of this little thing that went in his ear. But no, it were all the robots. Oh, I'm sure this article will tell us anyway. While much of this is inherently contradictory, one element in particular threatens to turn Alien into an altogether more traditional sci-fi series. It is currently unclear whether Ridley Scott will ever get to complete his vision for the Alien prequels. After the lukewarm reception to Covenant, because it was shit, Disney decided to take the franchise in a new direction with a standalone film from director Fede Alvarez and a prequel TV series from Noah Hawley. However, Scott's involvement as a producer on both projects prove he hasn't completely abandoned the Alien universe. He might just be taking a check, you know. He might not have any involvement creatively whatsoever. Fingers crossed. As such, there remains the possibility that his plans beyond Prometheus and Covenant will someday be completed. While there are many elements from each film that can be considered retcons, one detail is particularly concerning. Right. Perhaps the most glaring example of Ridley Scott's Alien prequels rewriting the franchise's lore is in their explanation for the creature's origins. Whereas the 1979 movie presented the xenomorph as a mysterious threat, waiting in deepest space for an undisclosed period of time, Alien Covenant suggested that the xenomorphs, I always said xenomorphs, but whatever, were actually created only a few decades previously in the overall Alien timeline by the android David. Which doesn't make any sense, in my opinion, but anyway. While there is still some debate about his status as the creature's creator, Covenant's main story and supplementary material make it clear that this is Ridley Scott's planned direction for the narrative, even though, you know, the space jockey were fossilised. And it takes a long time to fossilise something, not a few decades. You know, like thousands of years. But it won't really fossilise, more petrified, won't it? Fossilisation is when your skin and bones and stuff is replaced by, you know, minerals in it. But more petrified, won't it? Anyway, even though David's new role seemingly upended decades of established franchise lore, not to mention visual clues seen in Prometheus, Covenant made it clear that the android was destined for a central place in the Alien series. Covenant scenes in David's laboratory showed the meticulous way he had experimented with Prometheus's black goo to create a new creature, effectively letting him play God. But yet there were all these little spores on the planet that went in that fella's ear, and then he had an alien come out of him back on the ship that got them two people shagging in the shower. But anyway, this transformed the creatures themselves from perfectly evolved organisms to hastily designed bioweapons. However, it also altered the audience's perception of David and risked turning him into a sci-fi stereotype. Well, that's the trouble, though, isn't it, with a lot of sci-fi? They want to explain everything. It happens in Star Trek quite a lot, to be honest. Even in classic Trek, where things had to have an explanation and an origin. Or sometimes people say that we want to know the origin of, you know, say the Borg, for instance. Thankfully, they haven't gone that far yet. But, you know, there were rumours that, what was it now, that the Romulans created the Borg at some point. You know, there were all these rumours going around, weren't there? But it happens too often. We don't need to know. We don't need to know the origins of everything. Some things can be mysterious. Anyway, David's decision to create the xenomorphs completely changed his role from Prometheus. Although his motivations in the first prequel movie were unclear, he was never an entirely malevolent figure. He was just following orders, wasn't he, from Wayland. They didn't. No, they didn't. But that's what a lot of people were saying, weren't they? In their head canon. Anyway, despite poisoning Holloway with the black goo, Holloway Noomi Rapace's character, I think she was, wasn't she? Or was it? No, Holloway was Elizabeth Shaw's chap. They had it in, giving it in a drink, didn't he? That was it, yeah. Despite poisoning Holloway with the black goo, for instance, he also helps Elizabeth Shaw escape in the movie's dramatic climax. Rather than being straightforwardly evil, he's portrayed more like a curious child, experimenting with his surroundings with little understanding of the consequences that could follow. Alien Covenant changed things completely. Not only does he use completely amoral means to further his research, killing Elizabeth Shaw and using Christopher Oram as an incubator for his first true xenomorph, but he is also shown to commit genocide against the engineers inhabiting Covenant's planet. He also seems to genuinely revel in his villainy, smiling at Daniels when she realises with horror that he has replaced Walter on board the Covenant. This development, a trend that will presumably continue in a Covenant sequel, God, I hope not, turns David from an intriguingly ambiguous character into one of the most tired tropes in science fiction, a one-dimensional killer robot. I do think the Romulans are manipulating the Gorn in Strange New Worlds, though. Don't know. We'll see, won't we? We'll see. We will see. I hope not. Right, where were we? Another thing as well, in Discovery, they've shown us what the Breen look like, which I think were a bad idea. Why can't we keep some mystery and stuff? Anyway. Part of the reason why Covenant's revised role for David is so dramatic is that it represents a major retcon, not just from previous instalments in the franchise, but from the movie's immediate prequel Prometheus. Although Prometheus shares less of an explicit connection to the original Alien film, the movie still features clear indicators that the xenomorph itself has a history that extends far beyond David's experiments. A mural in the engineer's facility, for instance, appears to show a fully formed xenomorph, flanked by prototypical facehuggers. The so-called Deacon from Prometheus's ending also proves that David isn't the only one capable of creating xenomorphs. All these clues, combined with the fact that the original egg-laden engineer ship from Alien is unexplained by either Prometheus or Covenant, indicate that David can't be the only one responsible for the alien's existence. In turn, this makes the character's radical change in Covenant even more of a retcon than it otherwise would be, rendering his conformity to the killer robot trope not just unoriginal, but completely avoidable. It was baffling. Covenant, it was just baffling. I have no idea what they were trying to say, but anyway, in that film. It was like the Last Jedi of the Alien films, wasn't it? It just went in a completely different direction. It was stupid. The consequence of Scott potentially continuing down this path, assuming his final film gets made, hope it doesn't, is that the character loses what originally made him so compelling. Throughout the Alien series, so-called synthetics have played a pivotal role in almost every instalment. Ian Holmes' Ash was memorably revealed to be a villain, whereas Lance Henriksen's Bishop became a crucial ally for Ripley. Even Winona Ryder's Call asked existential questions about what it means to be human, continuing the franchise's trend of using robots to explore nuanced aspects of the human experience. After his role in Prometheus, David was arguably the best example of this more subtle approach. As I said, I thought Prometheus were okay, but it did have some stupid bits in it. David's ambiguous role, uncertain relationship with his human colleagues, and questions about his own existence and purpose all helped make him Prometheus's most compelling character. Despite doing bad things, it was never quite clear whether he understood the immorality of his actions. I thought it would work. I thought it would be like doing what old man Wayland had told him to do. But anyway. Alien Covenant, by contrast, sets him on a different path if, as the movie suggests, he really is solely responsible for this dangerous virus-like life form. With full knowledge of the threat it poses, his planned future story loses all ambivalence. Instead of a flawed, contradictory and surprisingly human character, he will become a cliché. Of course, Covenant's story may have removed doubt about the alien's origins to such an extent that no redemption for David is possible. Furthermore, the planned future of Fede Alvarez's Alien Romulus movie and Noah Hawley's Alien TV show could mean that Ridley Scott's plans are not only never completed, but are even completely removed from the franchise's lore. Yay! However, given that David remains the prequel's best character, it would be a shame if the lasting impression of him as a generic AI villain of the sort seen in dozens of sci-fi films instead of something more indeterminate and interesting. And there we go. So yeah, I hope they just forget about Prometheus, and even though I quite like Prometheus, I hope they just forget about Covenant in particular, because Prometheus wasn't too bad. It didn't break the law, really. It just bent it slightly. Prometheus just took the law, ripped it up, set fire to it, and then buried it in a shallow grave, didn't it? Bloody hated that film. I mean, my mate liked it. Forced me to watch it. Came up one night, because I've got it, for completion. Can we watch that? Yeah, whatever. Oh, we're good with that. For Christ's sake. Anyway... So there we go. I hope he doesn't. He won't get to finish his trilogy of Alien prequels because he's buggered it up. It's bloody puddled anyway. Is Ridley Scott, and he just says what he wants because he's old enough, and he makes films that do things that don't make sense, and then he says he'll set it some. Well, were you there? If it. Like in his Gladiator and his Napoleon films, where they have things that didn't really, were unable to be done at that time, and they'll say, "How do you know? Were you there?" That's how that's his answer, isn't it, to everything? Right, let's move on. The last story. How long been going? Bloody hell! Bloody hell! I thought this was going to be a quick one, but it hasn't. Hey, right, next up, staying in the Alien Omniverse, there we go. Of course, we're on giant freaking robot, Zach Zagranis. That's a Futurama name, isn't it? Predator species name is not what everyone says, and I've no idea how to pronounce it. But anyway, there's a Predator. Canon has become a hotly debated topic in recent years, whether it's Star Wars or Marvel. Fans can debate for hours over what's canon and what's and what's not, if given the opportunity. With that in mind, it's time to clarify something for the Predator fandom. I have no idea how to pronounce this. Is it Yautja? Yautja or Yautja? I don't know how you pronounce it. I say Yautja is not the canon name for the Predator species, and it never was. What's that from? Is that from Predators? I don't know. That's not to say that fans can't continue to use the term if they want. You're free to call the giant alien hunters anything you want. Head canon and fan canon, often referred to as fanon, are fun ways to make a franchise more personal for the individual dreaming it up. Yes, headcanon is fine. I do a lot of it myself, but it don't mean it's real. But for all of you pedantic geeks out there who care about such things, the term Yautja, or however it's pronounced, has never been officially adopted by either 20th Century Fox or Disney, who now own 20th Century Fox, or 20th Century Studios, as it's called now. Right, so why do so many sources, including Wikipedia, list Yautja as the official name of for the Predator species? Well, it's a little bit complicated. The name comes from a 1994 novel written by Steve Perry, no, not the guy from Journey, Don't Stop Believing, titled Alien vs. Predator Prey, which itself is a novelisation of the Alien vs. Predator comic book series. Already we're on shaky ground as far as canonicity is confirmed. with a book based on a comic based on a, at the time, unofficial crossover between two film franchises. That's from Predators, isn't it? Like many other popular sci-fi properties, including Star Wars and Star Trek, the Predator franchise contains a rich tapestry of comic books, novels and video games created to flesh out the world of the movies. And as with any fandom that originates on screen, the Predator franchise doesn't consider concepts found in the supplementary material canon unless they also appear in the movie or are otherwise acknowledged by the creators. See, that's why they change stuff in, like we're on about with Warhammer. You know, they're saying there's no female Custodes in Warhammer, but like I said, the filmmakers or, you know, TV series makers, whatever it's going to be, would say, well, no, that's a different thing. We're doing an adaptation of it. That's what they'd say. So we can do whatever we want, and it'll become our canon. The problem is that as of right now, the official Predator canon consists of 5 movies, making it unlikely that Yautja will get canonised anytime soon. What? Turned into a saint. The Predator versus Alien, the Alien versus Predator films themselves aren't even 100% canon. People in the Alien camp don't recognise the films whatsoever. You know, I don't mind them, both of them. I think they're all right. I don't know why they get that stick. But anyway, and while some people and I don't know why they keep saying about Alien vs Predator Requiem, you can't see what's going on. Well, I could. It looked fine to me. But anyway, maybe your tellies are rubbish. And while some people in the Predator camp do, it's more of a, well, we didn't film anything that technically contradicts them, so, followed by a shrug emoji. Considering the canon status of 2 officially licensed movies containing a good deal of Predator lore, which has yet to be confirmed beyond the shadow of a doubt, why would fans cling to a term that originates from an even more questionable source? To be fair, the Predator species is never given an official name in any of the movies, even the AVP ones. No one even referred to one of the creatures as a predator on screen until 2018's The Predator. That was a terrible film. Given the circumstances, it's not unreasonable for fans of the series to adopt an unofficial name for their favourite intergalactic hunters. The Hirogen, I mean. Yautja isn't even the only name given to the aliens. Other novels, comics and video games refer to the Predators as the Hish. It should go without saying that the name Hish is equally non-canon. Ultimately, it's all make-believe, and you can call any fictional species anything you want. Dreadsy McMandibles would be our suggestion for the official name of the Predator species. Just don't try to pass Yautja or any other name off as official Predator canon, because from one pedantic nerd to another, it's not. Yet. If it appears on film, it's canon. That's the rule, innit? They always said that about Star Wars, and they always said that about Star Trek. You know, all the novels, Star Wars novels, you know, the expanded universe, and all the Star Trek novels, you know, and all that stuff. The fans like to think it were canon, but it wasn't really. Even Gene Roddenberry himself had said that unless it appears on screen, it's not canon. But once it appears on screen, it is canon. But even then, they make mistakes, don't they, and get things wrong. But there we go. So there we go. So, you know, have your head canon, but, you know, don't get angry when people say, well, that's not true canon. You know, it's all fun, isn't it? It's all fun. In the end, in the long run, you know, discuss it, but don't get angry when people have a different opinion to you about what canon is. But I think they should at some point say, yes, they are called the Yautja, or another name. They should give them a proper name. Or one of the aliens should say, one of the Predators should say what it is at some point. They should say it, and then the human that's listening would say, what? Because they're all distorted of the voices, are they? So maybe you can't really make it out properly. Anyway, So there we go. Yorkshire is not officially the predator's species name, and neither is Hish, and neither is whatever he said, Dreadlock McMandibles or whatever they're called. So there we go. I think they should call him out after what's it bloody called now? The actor who played him in the first 2 films, played Harry from Harry and the Hendersons. Kevin Peter Hall. They should think up a name to do with him and call him that. Kev P. Howells or something. Or Kev Howells. They should call him Kev Howells. That's what they should call him. In honour of Kevin Peter Hall. That's my headcanon. But don't argue with me. Right. That's it. We're done. That was the last story. So we'll leave it there. Right. I can put my bookmark thing back up now. There we go. Right. So, we're all done. We're all done and dusted for another week of news. Unless something exciting happens and I do a separate news video. But anywho, what's coming up next? We're on Wednesday. So Friday is Appointment with Fear Night. And this week we're doing Mimic, Guillermo del Toro's Mimic, about giant mutant cockroaches living underneath New York. A cool film. It's the director's cut. Saturday, I keep forgetting, Saturday's May the 4th, be with you. So we're doing a special episode of Magnificent Mondays on Saturdays. Significant Saturdays, copyright 2024 Windgrace. We're doing a special episode where we're going to watch and talk about the theatrical release of Star Wars. Before it became A New Hope and all that, it was originally Star Wars. So we're going to look at that. And I'll probably say wrong things about it and all that stuff, and I'll talk about my memories of it all and how I believe Obi-Wan Kenobi murdered Jawas and Owen and Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru and to get Luke to go with him to fight his father. But anyway, so that's what we're going to be talking about on Saturday at the usual time, 9 p.m. Then what? Sunday will be my sketch time. If you go to the community section on the YouTube page, there's an image poll of 4 pictures that I will be trying to draw. One of them, you can pick one of those. There's a poll at the moment. Nichelle Nichols and Voluptuous Monochrome Seductress are level pegging, I think. Let's check and make sure it hasn't changed. What am I looking for? I can't remember. Let's have a look. Your channel. I'll show you it. I'll drag this over here, and I'll full screen the baby, and we'll have a look, shall we, and see what we're up to. Right. So here we go. Pardon me. It's on burping. Right, so here we go. So this is the Old Yorkshire Geek channel page on YouTube. Go to the community section. There we go, like that. And there we go. There's the poll. The lovely Nichelle Nichols, a worried-looking lassie, a voluptuous monochrome seductress. I think these bottom 3, I think they're all AI. Everything's AI now. Anyway, and one for the ladies, a burly chap. There we go. Anyway, so they're tying at the moment. And there's been 12 votes so far. Yes, there's been 12 votes so far. And Nichelle Nichols and her are tying at the moment. So if there is if we're getting closer to the Sunday, like on Saturday, if it's still tied, I will get rid of the bottom 2 and, do another poll, and we'll see if we can narrow it down. If there's still a tie at the end of it, I'll just toss a coin and see what happens. So there we go. So that's the community section. Don't forget the store. There we go, the store page. All things to buy. Look, cool. There's more than that. If you go to Spreadshop, there's more merch with my picture on. I'm going to do some more designs. I might do a Friday Night Appointment with Fear design and Magnificent Mondays design. And put them up as well. So that's enough plugging my website. Right, so that's that. So that's for Sunday. Right, get rid of that. Badush. Mondays, Magnificent Mondays. Next week is The Machine, a cool sci-fi thriller, a British one, starring Toby Stephens and Katie Lotz, which I think is better than Ex Machina. I think it came out either a year after or a year before. I think it was a year after Ex Machina, and I think it's better. And it was made for a fraction of the cost. But there we go. Right, so that's it. We're done. So, don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell and all that jazz. I will be uploading this to Spotify, Amazon Music Podcasts and Google Podcasts. So there we go. And so we'll leave it there. Oh, man, that's it. Yes, that's it. I've been talking for 2.5 hours. I thought it was going to be a quick show today for some reason. I don't know why. But anyway, right. So I'm going now because I'm getting peckish and I want a snack before bed. And I'm still wondering, shall I buy Battlestar Galactica 1978 on Amazon? Might do. So, yes, thanks, Windgrace, and thanks, Josh Temple. I think that's all we had. Oh, we had Archmage Frey, the mysterious man from Twitch, who Windgrace may or may not know. I don't know. But that's all we had tonight, popping into the chat. But anyway, so we'll leave it there. So, thanks for watching, and wherever you are, look after each other, and until next time, I'll see you there.